hope everyone is doing well today. If you're just joining in, just get into a comfortable seated position and we'll get ready in a few minutes. And we want to thank everyone who's been taking the classes and letting us know that what classes they've been doing. It really helps us out. And just get into a comfortable seated position, either sitting up on a blanket or sitting on your mat. And just make sure that you have a water bottle handy. And also, if you don't have a yoga mat, you can use either a blanket or a towel. And just begin to relax. Rest your hands on your lap. Palms can be facing up or down. And just begin to focus on your breath. Calming the body. Breathing in and out through your nose. And letting go of any thoughts that come into your mind. If your palms are facing down on your lap, you're grounding. If your palms are facing up, you're receiving energy. Whatever's more comfortable for you, do it this time. And just be in the present moment, not thinking about the past or thinking about the future. Just bring your focus into the present. Taking deep inhales in through your nose and slowly exhale out through your nose. Take a deep inhale in through your nose and gently exhale out through your nose. Do this with your own breath, beginning to relax your shoulders, relax your back, relax your arms, your hands. Feel your sit bones grounded. And relax your legs all the way down to your feet. If any thoughts come into your mind, just let them pass. And bring your focus back to your breath. It may happen every minute, it may happen every couple minutes, but the more you focus on your breath, the less that they'll come into your mind. And bring your shoulder blades back and down, elongating the spine, reaching out through the crown of your head. Take a slow inhale in through your nose and slowly exhale out through your nose. Doing a scan of your body, feeling if there's any tension in the body or gripping. On the exhale, try to direct that breath into that area of tension. You're inhaling and slowly exhaling. You'll feel your belly rise and fall on the inhale and exhale, and feel your lungs filling up with air. And On your next inhale, take a deep inhale in and hold, and slowly exhale out through your nose. Take another deep inhale in through the nose. Hold and slowly exhale out through your nose. And one more deep inhale in through your nose. Hold and slowly exhale out through your nose. Now just go back to your regular breathing, inhaling and exhaling. And just remember that this is your practice, so do what feels right for your body today. If a pose doesn't feel right, just come out of the pose and wait for the next pose. At any time, if you want to take a break, you can always go into a resting pose, child's pose, Tadasana, mountain pose, or crocodile pose. Just do what feels right for your body and listen to your body. And we'll get started. Keeping your eyes closed, just gently reach out through the crown of your head, elongating your spine. And on the exhale, just bring your chin to your chest. Leaving it there, taking a few deep inhales and exhales. Focusing on your breathing. Feeling the stretch up the back of the neck. And then slowly inhale back to center. And on the exhale, just take your gaze up, opening up your throat. If this is too much on the back of your neck, just bring your chin to chest. Take your gaze up. Inhaling and exhaling. And then bring your head back up to center and just gently bring your left ear towards your left shoulder. Feeling the stretch up the right side of the neck. Inhale back up to center. And bring your right ear towards right shoulder. Come back up to center and gently open your eyes. And take a deep inhale with your palms facing up. Raise your arms overhead. Inhale, really elongate the spine, reaching out through your fingertips. And turn your palms out and exhale, release back down by your side. Turn your palms facing up, take a deep inhale. Really reach your arms up overhead and exhale, release. One more big deep inhale, reaching your arms up overhead. Interlace your fingers, place your palms facing the sky, arms by your ears. On the exhale, gently lean to the left. Feeling the stretch up the right side of the body. Taking a few deep breaths here. Inhale back up to center. And exhale right. Take a few deep breaths here. Keeping a flat back. Keeping your sit bones grounded. Inhale back up to center. Exhale left. Take a few deep breaths here. Inhale back up to center. Exhale right. Inhale back up to center and exhale, release. And we're going to go into shoulder rolls. So your hands are by your side, your fingertips are touching your mat. And on the inhale, you're just going to bring your shoulders forward and up. And on the exhale, bring them back and down. So inhale, forward and up. Exhale, back and down. Do this with your own breath, matching your breath to your movement. And then when you're ready, go in the opposite direction, inhaling back and up, exhaling forward and down. Loosening up those shoulders, getting movement into the body, wakening up those muscles. And then come to stillness and extend your arms out in front of you, parallel to the floor. Place your palms facing up towards the sky. Really engage your arms here as if you're holding a weight, reaching through your fingertips. Take a deep inhale and really lengthen. And on the exhale, bring your fingers to your shoulders. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, hands to shoulders. Do this with your own breath, slowing down your breathing, focusing on really lengthening. And then on your next exhale, leave your fingertips on your shoulders. And we're going to inhale and open up those arms to the side, elbows to the side. And then on the exhale, bring your elbows together. Inhale and exhale. And then on your next exhale, leave your elbows together. And we're going to make circles with the elbows. So on the inhale, bring your elbows up and around. And on the exhale, bring them down, back and down. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, back and down. Really working those shoulders. And then when you're ready, you can go in the opposite direction. Inhaling back and up. Exhaling forward and down. When you're bringing them back, you're really trying to get those shoulder blades together, as if you have a pencil between your shoulder blades. You're pinching, holding together, holding. And then just release your arms back down by your side and extend your right foot out in front of you, keeping the sole of your, extend your left foot out in front of you. Keep the sole of your right foot on your left thigh. You're opening up that right hip. If you have a blanket you're sitting on to raise your hips, just take that out now. You can have a slight bend in that straight knee. And just take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, begin to walk your hands forward for forward fold. When you can't go any further, take a deep inhale in. And on the exhale, see if you can get a little bit deeper into the pose. Trying to breathe into that low back, releasing the tension in that low back. Taking a deep inhale and exhale. hands back up to center. Extend your right leg out. Bring the sole of your left foot into your right thigh, opening up that left hip. You can have a slight bend in that straight leg. Your foot is flexed. Take a deep inhale, lengthen that spine. On the exhale, begin to walk your hands forward, forward fold. When you can't go any further, take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, forward fold. Take a few deep breaths here. Slowly walk your hands back up to center. Bring the soles of your feet together for a bound angle pose. And you just want to roll out the arches of your feet. If it's too much on your knees, you can bring your feet out a little bit more. And just gently butterfly your knees out to the side. Getting movement into those hips. Remember to breathe. And then bring your legs to stillness. And you can place your hands on your ankles or on your feet. And we're just from our low back, keeping a flat back. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, just begin to hinge forward, reaching out through the crown of your head. It doesn't matter how low you go, it's just getting the stretch you'll have in the inner thighs and lengthening the spine here. Take a few deep breaths here. And then slowly come back up to center. And bring your knees in. Now we're going to have our knees bent and our soles of our feet are flat on the mat. And just place your hands behind your hips. Your fingertips are facing your glutes. And you're just going to go back and engage your core here. We're going to go into a reverse plank. So your palms are grounded, fingertips facing your glutes, feet are flat on the mat, and you're going to engage your core and slowly begin to raise your hips up. This is strengthening your arms, making sure that your shoulders are over your wrists for a reverse plank. Keep engaging your core, you're engaging your legs here. Feet are flat on the mat. And then slowly come back down to seated. Take a few deep breaths here. If it's too much on your wrists, then just wait for the next pose. Inhale, raise your hips up, and if you're comfortable here, you can, instead of looking forward, you can bring your head back, lifting your heart up towards the sky. If it's too much on your neck, just take your gaze forward. If you want a slight arch, you can take your gaze up to the sky. And slowly come back down to the mat. Take a few deep breaths here. And the last one, raise your hips up, straighten those legs for reverse plank. Strengthening those arms. Heart reaching up to the sky, opening up the heart. Take your gaze up or keep it straight, whatever's comfortable. Don't strain your neck. Engage your core. And slowly lower back down. Now we're going to come onto our hands and knees. We're going to do a few rounds of cat-cow. So make sure your shoulders are over your wrists and your hips are over your knees. On the inhale, drop your belly, take your gaze up. On the exhale, tuck your chin and round your spine. Inhale, drop your belly, take your gaze up. Exhale, tuck your chin and round your spine for cat. You can do this with your own breath, inhaling and exhaling. Getting the fluid moving in the spine, creating movement. You're creating space for cat between you and the mat. Creating space between your shoulders. And then we'll come back to neutral, to tabletop. And on the inhale, extend that right foot back, level with that right hip. Engage your core. Keep your foot flexed, pushing out through your heel. You can stay here, or you can extend your left arm out in front of you with your thumb facing the sky. You can work on balance, or if you want to add on the exhale, round your spine and bring your elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, bring your elbow to knee. Wherever you're at is fine today. If you just want to work on your legs, on balance, that's fine. If you're bringing your elbow to knee on the exhale, really round that spine to create this space to bring your elbow to knee. Then bring your hand back down to the mat, your knee back down. Roll out that left wrist. And then on your next inhale, extend that left foot back, level with that left hip. Engaging your leg, pushing out. Foot is flexed, you're pushing out through your heel. You can stay here and work on balance. If you want to add on, extend that right arm out in front of you, thumb facing the sky. If you want to add on the exhale, round that spine and bring your elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Do this with your own breath, really rounding the spine. And bring your hand back down to the mat, your knee back down. Roll out that left wrist. Then we're going to go back to child's pose. So your big toes are overlapping. Your knees are a little wider than hip distance apart. And just lower your torso between your knees and bring your forehead to the mat. Your arms are out in front of you. And just bring your focus back to your breath. If it's too much on your arms, you can bring your arms behind you. And just bring your focus to your breath. Take a few deep breaths here. We're going to come back into tabletop and extend that right foot back behind you, level with your hip, and then bring that right foot around to the side. You're on the sole of your foot and you're slowly going to come up, bringing your hands to your hips. If Feel the opening in that right hip. And then take a deep inhale and reach your arms overhead. And on the exhale, bring that right hand down to that right calf. Your left arm is over the left ear, gently reaching to the right. You'll feel the stretch in that left hip. Take a few deep breaths here. Make sure your back is flat. You're not leaning towards that leg. And this left arm is directly over that left ear. Wherever you're at is fine. Take a few deep breaths here. Now using your core, bring your arms back up overhead. And then on the exhale, bring that left arm down to the mat, and your right arm is over that right ear, keeping a flat back, straight line from your right foot to your right fingertips. Engaging your core, pulling your belly button in, feeling the stretch in the right side, right hip. Take a few deep breaths here. Then using your core, inhale, come back up to center, and exhale, release. Now we're going to bring that right leg back in, and we're going to extend our left foot out to the side. Take a deep inhale, reach up, arms overhead. And on the exhale, bring your left hand down to your left calf, right arm over that right ear. Take a few deep breaths here. Engage your core, reaching out through the fingertips. Inhale back up to center and bring your right hand down to the mat. Left arm over that left ear, reaching out through your fingertips. Flat back, straight line from your left foot to your left fingertips. Engage your core and inhale, lift up, hands overhead, and exhale. Release your arms by your side. Bring your knee back in. We're going to go back into tabletop. And we're going to go into our first downward facing dog. So flip your toes over and just hover your knees over the mat, about 6 inches off the mat. Engage your thighs here, engage your core. Then slowly shift your hips back towards your feet and slowly straighten your legs for the first downward facing dog. You can pedal out your feet. You can go up on your toes and bring those heels down. You can have a slight bend in your knees for the first downward facing dog. Your head is between your arms. And just take a few deep breaths here. And then inhale, look up between your hands, and exhale, walk or step forward, forward fold. You can have a slight bend in your knees. Hold opposite elbow to opposite hand. Sway from side to side. You're really trying to release that tension in your low back. Then release your hands and slowly inhale, reach up, hands overhead, and exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up, hands overhead, pressing palms together. Exhale, release your arms by your side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Take a few deep breaths here. And inhale, reach up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana in mountain pose. So your feet are hip distance apart, your palms are facing forward, shoulder blades are back and down. You can have your eyes open or closed and just focus on your breath, calming the breath. Taking deep inhales and exhales really brings oxygen to your muscles, helping with your practice. And we're going to go into a few sun salutations. So come to the front of your mat and take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back, keeping your hands on your thighs or on your calves to give you that flat back from your low back to the crown of your head. Take a few deep breaths here. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Now we're going to exhale to plank. Plant your hands. Step back to plank. Engage your core. Make sure your shoulders are over your wrists. You're pushing through your heels. You can modify this by coming to your knees and flipping your feet to the tops of your feet. You're still working on strengthening your arms, engaging your core. Wherever you're at is fine. Do what feels right for your body. Now with control, wherever you're at, bring your chin and chest down between your hands, keeping your elbows by your side. You want control. You don't want your pelvis to drop. You'll hurt your low back. And then inhale gently up to cobra. You're pointing through your toes, engaging your legs, pressing your palms into the mat. Shoulder blades are back and down, and your gaze is forward. Exhale, lower back down to the mat. Flip your toes and inhale back to downward facing dog. You can come to tabletop first before downward dog if that's easier for you. Take a few deep breaths in down dog. See if you can get your heels closer to the mat. If they don't touch the mat, that's fine. It's a work in progress. Inhale, look up between your hands. And exhale, walk or step forward to forward fold. Inhale, reach up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank. Engage your core. Make sure your shoulders are over your wrists. You can come to your knees if you'd like. Hold it, pulling your belly button in. And then with control, don't drop your pelvis down, you'll hurt your low back. With control, lower your chin and chest down between your hands and come up for cobra. Take a few deep breaths here. Slowly lower back down to the mat. Flip your toes, push back to downward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths here. Come up on your toes and just slowly walk your feet to your hands for forward fold. Inhale, reach up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana in mountain pose. Come back to your breath. Slowing the breath down. Now we're going to take an inhale and reach up, hands overhead. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. And this time on the exhale, we're going to plant our hands and just step back with that left leg. Make sure your right knee is stacked over your right ankle. You're pushing through that back foot for runner's lunge. You're on the ball of that foot. And then slowly lower that left knee down to the mat. And when you're ready, bring your hands up to your right thigh. Your hips are pressed forward. You're not on the top of that knee. That knee is slightly back, your left knee. And then when you're ready, bring your arms to goalpost. Pressing those hips forward. And then when you're ready, bring your arms up for low lunge. You're really engaging your thighs here, pressing that back foot down on the mat, engaging your core, lifting your chest up towards the sky, reaching out through your fingertips. Take a few deep breaths here. Make sure that your shoulders aren't up by your ears. Then bring your hands down, both hands to the inside of that right foot. And you can walk that foot out a little bit. We're going to go into lizard. So if you have a bad hip and this bothers your hips, don't do that pose. Just stay in low lunge. But for lizard, so your hands are on the inside of that right foot, and you can come down to your elbows for lizard. You can roll that right foot to the outside edge of that foot if you want more of a stretch in that right hip. Wherever you're at is fine. You don't want it to hurt. You can stay up on your hands if you want. You just want to feel the stretch, but you don't want to overdo it. Just come to the edge of the stretch in that right hip. This is lizard pose. So take a few deep breaths here. The longer you're in the pose and you're breathing, focusing on your breath, it'll relax more. That muscle will relax more, but you don't want to force it. You don't want to push it. You just want to let it naturally release. Take a few deep breaths here. Then come back up onto your hands. Walk that foot back to center. Frame your right foot Flip your back foot, your toes, lift that back knee, and step forward to forward fold. Take a few deep breaths here. Then inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. And on the exhale, plant your hands and step that right foot back. So you're going on to the ball of that right foot. Your left knee is stacked over your left ankle. You're pushing through that back foot. Take a few deep breaths here. Engage your core. And then slowly lower that back leg, your knee to the mat. And when you're ready, come up, bring your hands to your thighs. You're engaging your thighs here. You're pressing that back foot into the mat. When you're ready, extend your arms into goalpost. Shoulder blades back and down. Opening the heart. Your gaze can be forward or you can have a slight back bend looking up. You can stay here or extend your arms up to the sky for low lunge. Your hips are pressed forward. That back knee is slightly back, that back leg. You're not directly on that back knee. If you need a blanket under that knee, you can put it under there now. Take a few deep breaths. Now bring your hands down to the inside of that left foot. Slide that back knee, that back leg, straighten it out, slide it back a little further. You can stay here, roll onto the edge of that left foot to open up that hip more, or you can just leave it flat on the mat. You can stay here, or you can come down to your forearms and just focus on your breath. Wherever you're at is fine. Take a few deep breaths here. Then come back up to your hands. Walk that foot in a bit. Frame that front foot. Flip your back toes. Lift that back knee up. And then when you're ready, step forward to forward fold. Take a few deep breaths here. Inhale, reach up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. We're going to take a few deep breaths in Tadasana in mountain pose. Really take a deep inhale in and exhale slowly, exhaling out through your nose. Another deep inhale and exhale. Now we're going to go into a balancing pose, into tree pose. So if you need to stand by a wall or if you need a chair, you can get that now. And just focus on a stationary point out in front of you. It can be about 2 feet in front of you. Your drishti. You want a point that you can focus on. And place your hands on your hips. your weight is evenly distributed on both feet. And gently shift your weight into that left foot. Then bring your right heel to your left ankle. You can stay here, have a kickstand out. You want to open up that right hip. And bring your hands to heart center. Now you can raise that foot to your calf or to your thigh. Wherever you're at, just don't rest it on your knee. You're focusing on that point. You're engaging your core, working on balance. And when you find balance, you can extend your branches out. You can raise them up to the sky. If you fall out of it, you can come right back into it. Wherever you're at, it's your practice. It's fine. You're really focusing on that stationary point. You're pressing that right foot into that left thigh. You're working from your ankles all the way up through the crown of your head, focusing on that point. When you're ready to come out, you can bring your hands to heart center, your knee forward and down. Shake your legs out. Evenly distribute your weight on both feet. Bring your hands to your hips. Find that focal point. Shift your weight into that right leg. Bring your left heel to your right ankle, opening up that left hip. You can raise that foot up to your calf or up to your thigh, wherever you're at. Just keeping that hip open. Bring your hands to heart center. And then you can extend your branches in the goalpost or raise them up to the sky. Engaging your core, pulling your belly button in, reaching out through your fingertips, working on balance. If you fall out of it, you can come right back into it. Each side is different. Each day is different. Then bring your hands to heart center, your knee forward and down. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana and mountain pose. Come to the front of our mat, and with your left foot you're going to step back. We're going to go into warrior two, so you're going to step back so the back arch is in alignment with your front heel. You're going to turn your hips towards the side of your mat, towards the front, and then put a slight bend in that front knee so you can see your big toes. When you're ready, extend your arms out to the sides. Shoulder blades are back and down. And take your gaze over your right fingertips for warrior two. You're engaging your core. You want to be able to see your big toes in the front foot, the right foot. And you're taking your gaze over your right fingertips. Shoulder blades are back and down. Then inhale, flip that right palm up, drop your back arm, and raise that right arm up to the sky for reverse warrior. Take a few deep breaths here. And now we're using our core. We're going to inhale back to warrior two and exhale that right forearm to the right thigh and bring that left arm over that left ear for side angle. You don't want to turn towards that right leg. You're as if you're in, your back is against the wall. Your right arm is over, your left arm is over your left ear. You're not leaning on this right arm. It's kind of hovering over that right thigh. You're using your core to keep you up. Take a few deep breaths here. Then inhale back to warrior two. And step forward to Tadasana. Take a few deep breaths here and we'll do the other side. Place your hands on your hips. Step that right foot back. Make sure your arch is in alignment with the front heel. Hips, square your hips to the front of your mat. Put a slight bend in that left knee. Make sure you can see your big toes. And when you're ready, extend your arms out to the side, shoulder blades back and down, and take your gaze over the left fingertips. For warrior two. Inhale, flip your left palm up, drop your back arm, and raise that left arm up to the sky for reverse warrior. Take a few deep breaths here. You'll feel the stretch in that left hip. Using your core come back to warrior two. Making sure you still have a bend in that front knee. Bring your left forearm to your left thigh and that right arm over that right ear. Reaching out through your right fingertips. There's a straight line from your right foot all the way to your right fingertips. You're just hovering that left arm. You're not leaning into that leg. You're using your core, holding you up. Then inhale back up to warrior two, strong warrior. Make sure your back arm is level with that front arm. And then we're going to turn and step forward to Tadasana. Take a few deep breaths here. Come down to tabletop, and we're going to go into pigeon, which is a little advanced pose for your hips. If for some reason, if your hips bother you, you can do recline pigeon. So I'll show you recline pigeon first. You could do if you don't want to go into regular pigeon. You're on your back, and you'll bring your right foot over that left leg at your right ankle over your left, and just gently press, opening up the hip. You can do pigeon this way. You can add on and just engage that thigh for pigeon, interlacing your hands behind the left thigh and keeping your feet flexed, and do that on both sides. Now, for regular pigeon, you're in tabletop on all fours, and you're just going to extend that right leg back, and then bring that right knee towards that right hand, and your foot is behind your left hand. Extend that back leg, straighten that back leg for pigeon. You don't want to roll off to the side onto the hip. You want to keep your hips forward. You can put put a blanket or a block under that hip if it's too much. You can stay here, or you can come down to your forearms for pigeon. And you're going to feel it in that right hip. And the longer you're there, the more that muscle is going to release, the more that hip is going to release. And just breathe. You store a lot of emotions in your hips, so doing hip openers can sometimes be emotional or let emotion out. But it's a really good pose for your hips. Take a few deep breaths here. And then come back up onto your hands and extend that foot back. And then come back to tabletop. And then extend your left leg back. And then bring your knee in towards that left hand, left wrist. Slide your right foot back. You can place a blanket under your hip if you need it, or a block. You can stay here, and your toes are pointing back, that back foot. If you want to come down to your forearms, you can do that now. And just focus on pulling your core in, pulling your belly button in. And come back up to your hands. Flip your toes and bring that back to tabletop. We're going to come into seated position to staff pose. Slight bend in your knees. Feel your sit bones grounded. And take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, just begin to walk your hands forward for forward fold. See if that forward fold's a little different than the one in the beginning. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Then begin to walk your hands back up to center. And we're going to go on to the mat. We're going to lay down. And just hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. And then place your feet flat on the mat, hip distance apart. Your arms are by your side, palms facing down. Your shoulder blades are tucked under. You want to make sure that your knees stay facing forward. They don't fall out to the sides. You can place a blanket between your knees if you want to keep them from falling to the sides. We're going to go into rolling bridge. So on the inhale, lift your hips. Begin to press your soles of your feet and your palms into the ground. And lift your hips up towards the sky. On the inhale. And exhale, slowly roll back down to the mat. Inhale, lift. And exhale. Slowly roll back down to the mat. Do this with your own breath. Inhale, lift. Now the next time your hips are up towards the sky, stay there for a couple minutes. See if you can walk your feet towards your shoulders a little more. Tuck your shoulder blades under. You can interlace your fingers behind your back. You can go up on your toes if you want. And just take a few deep breaths there. Then release your hands, come back to the soles of your feet. Slowly come back down to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. Extending your arms out to the side. Slowly roll onto that left hip, keeping your shoulder blades on the mat. Take your gaze over your right fingertips. Take a few deep breaths here. Inhale back up to center. And exhale. Roll onto your right hip, bringing your knees to the right, keeping your shoulder blades on the mat. Take your gaze over your left fingertips. Take a few deep breaths here. Inhale, using your core, come back up to center. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. When you're ready, we're going to go into Shavasana. So for Shavasana, you can lay flat on the mat. You can roll a blanket up and put it under your knees to relieve pressure on your low back, or you can place it under your head. And you'll just lay back on the mat, palms facing up, arms slightly away from your body, and just let your feet fall out to the corners of the mat. And bring your focus back to your breath. Closing your eyes. Relax your forehead. Relax your eyes. Remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Relax your shoulders, your upper arms, your forearms, all the way to the tips of your fingers. Relax your chest, your abdomen, your hips. Relax the front of your thighs, your knees, your shins. Relax your ankles, the tops of your feet, all the way to the tips of your toes. Relax the soles of your feet, your calves, the backs of your thighs. Relax your low back, mid back, and upper back. Relax the back of your shoulders, the back of your neck, all the way to the crown of your head. Continue your breath past the crown of your head, all the way past the tips of your toes. A continuous flow of air. fingers and toes. Move your head from side to side, putting movement back into the body. And when you're ready, roll on to your favorite side. With your eyes closed, come up to seated position with your hands at heart center and your thumbs at your sternum. Slight bow to your head. Yoga is a journey, and change is inevitable, but change is always happening. When you truly embrace this concept of change being constant, the only thing left to do is grow, detach, venture inward, touch the spirit, and find your source, the one responsible for keeping you grounded through the ever-changing seasons of life. Thank you for sharing your mat with me today. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the class. And also thank you for letting us know when you're watching the videos. We really appreciate it, and we hope everyone is doing well during this time. Have a great day.